All right. Happy Friday. If you're watching this on the replay, well, thank you. And let me know that you're watching this on the replay. And also head on over to takeactioncrew.com. And if you go over there, you'll see a really cool player that you'll be able to search back through all of the other ones. And you can actually search for the exact thing that you're looking for. So it doesn't go off just title. It goes off of every single topic that I've ever done. So make sure you go to takeactioncrew.com. If you sign up there, we'll give you some exclusive stuff behind the scenes that we'll be sending you guys. Also some reminders on these coffee talks. So if you have any questions that you want us to discuss on a jam session, which we're going to be doing here today, the best way to do that is to, well, go to takeactioncrew.com. If you jump on that list, then from there you can email through when you get that email notification that you've been added to the Take Action Crew list. All right. So yeah, I'm excited because well, why not? Why shouldn't we be excited? You know, yes, we can sit here and talk about all the doom and gloom, but we're not going to do that. We're going to sit here and be positive, and we are going to talk about things that we can control. And the one thing we can control is content on our site. All right. And really, how do we bring in the right people? And that's really what we're going to be talking about today. Was a question that came in, and it was, how do I create and recycle, which also could be also said as repurpose? How do we do that? How do we create content, good content, and how do we get the most out of it? Or how do we recycle it? We'll talk about recycling, repurposing. We'll talk about all of that stuff on this jam session. So before I do, you guys know that have been here before. The way that I do these jam sessions is, well, we get a few people on here where we can hang out live. You guys can give me some questions if you have any. The topic that we're going to be talking about is that, how to create good content and then how to recycle it or also repurpose it. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And we'll start that here in a few minutes. But I am, like I said, going to be answering any questions that you have that we're going to be able to answer here live. And then what I do is I turn this into a Friday episode of the podcast. So again, if you have any questions, let me know. If you're just joining us, head on over to takeactioncrew.com after. Jump on that list. You'll be on an exclusive list for the morning crew, or this right here. And then we're going to do some cool things for the people that do jump on that list. So if you have not yet done that, make sure you do. I will be basically just sending you either updates about the coffee talks or maybe asking you for what you want to see on these coffee talks. So a little bit more of a direct access. All right. So make sure that you do that. So let's go ahead and see who's hanging out with us here today on our coffee talk. Let's see here. We got Ruth in the house. What's up, Ruth? I haven't seen you in or on these coffee talks in a little while. Maybe you were here the other day. Maybe you popped in, but I have seen you in the BCA group and you're doing some pretty cool things. Let's see here. We've got Jana. Hey, Jana. Good morning. Michael, what's up, man? Good morning. I hope you've had a great week. I've had an amazing week. And actually, Michael, I know you're in BCA and Ruth is, and I believe Phil is. And so, hey, I got something I'm going to be adding here. Actually, it was already added to the portal, but I'm gonna put it into the group. We've got a hot seat that's coming out. Gabriella. So if Gabriella does see this or tunes in here late, Gabriella, your hot seat is going to air today inside of the Academy. So super excited about that. And I know, Michael, yours was great. What's up, Phil? Good to see you, man. Sagi, what is up, my friend? Sagi's a good friend of mine, was in a mastermind with Sagi. Crushing it, by the way. Dude, man, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you, brother. Derek, good morning, Atlanta in the house. What's up? Octavio, what's up, man? Happy chilly Friday. It's chilly there? Chilly where you are? Cool. Hey, and Octavio, I was going to reach out to you. I'll probably do that here today at some point, or maybe you can reach out to me. We got to set up a time we can unpack your last promotion on your first digital product launch. So want to hear about that. Salma, what's up? Hello to you. Oh, thank you, Sagi, for doing that. TakeActionCrew.com. Yeah, cool little player there, by the way, guys. I'm really excited about that player. It's put out by Stu McLaren, who actually built a tool called Searchy. And basically what it allows us to do is take all the videos and bring them in. They automatically get transcribed in the background, and now they're searchable inside of the videos. So if you want to search for how to create a lead magnet, every time that I've mentioned how to create a lead magnet in any of the past coffee talks, you'll find that specific spot in those videos. So it really does help you get to that answer a lot quicker. We're also adding this inside of Brand Creators Academy. We've already done it for all of our office hours calls. We're doing it for the hot seat calls, and then we're going to do it for globally all of the content. So really, really awesome. It's a cool player. Good morning, Karen. Good to see you. I'm glad that you're getting back to your health as well, Karen. I know you were struggling there with some migraines and stuff, and that's awesome. Or that's terrible that you're feeling better. It's awesome that you're feeling better. It was terrible that you were feeling bad. So that's what I meant. But I'm glad that you're back, Karen, because I know that it had to be killing you not to be able to get out there and keep taking action as hard as you were, because you are an action taker. Yeah, no, awesome, Siggy. We'll definitely have to catch up, man. Troy, what's up, man? I messaged you as well. We have to get on and we have to do a little drilling for you. We got to drill the test hole in construction terms. We got to drill the water test before we go ahead and start building the foundation, right? That's what we're going to do with Troy. So, all right, guys, we are going to kick this thing off today. If you're just joining me, the topic for the jam session, which is just going to be our starting topic. After that, we're going to go into whatever other questions that you want to ask. You can do that. I'm going to try to keep this to about 10 to 12 minutes about what I want to talk about as far as like bringing up this topic of how do you create good content? How do you recycle it or repurpose it, or both, or all three? How do you do it? Okay. So we're going to talk about that because I think it's really important. And moving into 2021, content is going to be something that you must put into your brand. You really should. You need to start planting those seeds as soon as possible. All right. Even if it's just one a week, commit to it, start planting those seeds. I can't stress it enough. All right. And that's what we're going to be talking about today a little bit, is some content and some content creation and stuff. And I'm going to give you some examples on that. So, Octavio, let's unpack. Lots of fun experiences to share. That's awesome. We're going to do that inside the Academy, Octavio. So let's set up that call. Whenever you get some free time, I get some free time. Let's hook up. We'll make that happen. All right, cool. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to kick this off for the jam session. Let me go ahead and bring up my little banner for the jam session. Let me see if I can't find it. Oh yeah, there it is. All right. Yeah. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. And you know what? Let me do this real quick. Give me one quick win that you've experienced this week so far. One quick win. Just give me one quick win. All right. And that way there we can kind of high five and celebrate virtually here on the Coffee Talk. So myself personally, my big win for the week, I'll tell you, is that I've been consistent on my new morning routine. And I've been consistent now for about a week and a half. And I'll tell you what, I feel great. I feel great because I'm getting everything I want to get done as far as health, fitness wise, mentally, all that stuff before I get started for the day. Like I'm done with all that stuff by like 7 o'clock, which is pretty awesome. And I'm really excited about that. And I think I'm going to be able to keep this going because I've played with different things in the morning, and I've played with different things that I thought were going to work and didn't work because it wasn't the right fit for me. I think I found the balance. So I'm super excited about that. And it's a win because I feel really good. My diet's been dialed in. My fitness has been dialed in. Mental clarity is there. Everything's happening like the way that I want it to. So I'm really excited about that. So that's a win for me. So high five. Let's do it. All right, cool. So let's do this. Let's start this off. We're going to do it as we always do. I'm going to pause and then I'm going to come in as a Friday jam session. All right. Quick sip of coffee. And guys, let me know. Give me a win. Put it in the comments. I mean, guys, simple little action step here. Put your win in the comments. All right. Very simple. Just drop it in there. Okay. All right, here we go. Let me get my notes up here. All right. All right, cool. Here we go. All right, welcome back to another Friday jam session. You guys know I say this just about every week. This is probably one of the highlights for me because I get to hang out with some cool people on a Friday and I get to jam on business stuff, life stuff, whatever's happening in our world of entrepreneurship, because really everything that we're doing in our business really does happen also with us taking care of ourselves and mental clarity and all of that fun stuff. So yes, I'm excited to be here with like-minded people. And if you are listening to this on the podcast and you are not here live, or you're not here at one of our coffee talks, which is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but our jam sessions is where you get to ask questions and we get to kind of really focus on one area of your business, head on over to takeactioncrew.com. It's free. There's a pretty cool little player over there that you get to search through all of the past coffee talks. And it's not just a keyword in the title. It actually goes through all of the transcripts from all of the coffee talks that I've done, and you get to search through those. So if you have something that you want to learn more about or that you want an answer to, probably just search it, find it. You're going to find multiple instances of that. So make sure that you do that. TakeActionCrew.com. And I plan on doing some cool stuff for people that jump on the morning cruise list. So if you go there, you'll see a place to put your name and email address in, and that's where you'll get updates. And you'll also get some exclusive stuff that we're going to do for just the morning crew that are on that list. So make sure you do that. All right. So let's get to it. What's today's topic? Well, I threw this out there on Facebook, and I said it was in the Rock Your Brand group. And I said, what would you want to know about, or what would you want to ask for a jam session question, or what should be a topic? And the very first question that came in, I go, that's going to be the one, because you know what? You took action and you basically, you did what I asked you to. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to reward that person. And I think it was Alejandro, I believe. And if I can remember correctly. And the question was this: what is the best way to create and recycle content? All right. Now, I'm going to take it a little bit further, because the recycling side of things means that you're going to go back to something old and bring it back, which is good. We can do that. And I'll talk about that. There's definitely a way you can do that. And there's something that I've done for years, and it allows me to recycle content. Because if you create a piece of content, a lot of times you think that it's kind of, okay, it's there, I'm done with it. No, we can bring it back. We can do certain things that will bring it back, and we can leverage it again. All right. So I'll talk about that. But the other one I want to talk about, which wasn't asked in that first initial question, was how do you repurpose the content? How do you take something like this, right, and an audio, and how do you turn that into a written form? How do you turn it into video? How do you turn it into little snippets? Like, there's all different things that you can do with that one piece of content, but it starts with the content. And then you go to the next thing, which is like, oh, okay, how do you find out what content to create? But we're not going to go too deep into that, but I'm going to give you my thoughts and my feelings on what is the best way to create a piece of content, and then how to repurpose it, and then how to recycle it. All right. Because I think that repurposing it should be the first thing that you do the minute that you create that piece of content. Recycling it, that can come later. Okay. So here's what I want to do. I want to first start off with the content piece. So a lot of people get stuck here. They're like, well, I really want to create content in my brand, but I just don't know what I should create. I'm going to give you a very quick, actionable piece of advice right now. There are questions that people are asking in your market right now. There are questions, and I mean with a question mark, okay? And the reason why I bring that up is because your first 10 posts could all be just question-based. And it could be, and you can still go with the how-to, right? How to catch a bass in a pond. That is a question, okay? It's also a little bit of instruction there. Or it can be something like this. Can you catch bass at night? Can you catch bass on a spinnerbait? Can you catch bass in the winter months? Can you catch bass? Fill in the blank. Okay. So the easiest way to get a list of your first pieces of content is to answer questions. If people are asking questions in your market, they are interested in your market. It's that simple. But we also, again, going back a little bit, we need to understand our market. And that's where the research comes in. That's where the validation piece comes in. Okay. And so if you have not done that, that's going to be your first part of this assignment. Find out, okay, in your market, and if you don't have your market selected, we got to get that done first, but I'm assuming you do, right? Figure out those questions. Figure out those initial questions. Don't get hung up on going too deep into the keyword research yet. That will hold you up. That will take you away from actually creating. I want to get you from idea to creation to publish, right? And then from there, we can repurpose, we can recycle, we can do all of those things. But a lot of people stay in the research phase. Anybody fall into that trap? I'm raising my hand like you can see me. I know people that are watching can, but if you're listening to this, you can't see me. I'm putting my hand up like, anybody in the room here? Anybody, has done that before? Has anybody in that stage right now where you're like, I'm just going to do a little bit more research until I know that that's the exact post that I should be creating. I know that that's going to be the one that's, well, wait a minute, maybe it's not. Let me do a little bit more research. Yeah, that one seems really good. I'm really excited about it. I'm almost ready to write it, or I'm almost ready to record it, or I'm almost ready to whatever. Let me do a little bit more research just to make sure. Anybody fall into that trap? Anybody? Bueller, Fry? What movie is that from? All right, so that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making. So we got to get that piece of content created. The next thing I see people make, or the mistake I see people making, is then they don't know what type of content they should create. Well, I don't know if it should be written. I don't know if it should be audio. I don't know if it should be video. My answer to you is this. What is the easiest for you to do right now? Because if you create a written post, an article, a piece of content that resides on your website, that's great. You can take that and turn that into video, by the way. You can take that and turn that into maybe even a podcast. Okay? That piece of content starts with whatever is the easiest for you to create. If you can create video, start with video. Then we transcribe it. Then we edit it. We make it into a blog post. Okay? Then we might take that same thing. We might make a Pinterest pin about it. And then that'll drive people over to that. Okay? So there's things that we can do with the content once we have the content. You need to decide what is the easiest thing that you can do that you feel will get it done. And do not take weeks to get this thing done. All right. I talked about this the other day as far as like, how do you get stuff done without getting into that hamster wheel of, overthinking things or procrastination and all of that stuff? How do you do it? You set up rules for yourself and you dedicate a specific amount of time and you give yourself a deadline. This hour for today, I am going to do research to find out what are my next 10 articles that are going to be written. The next day, what is going to be the one that I'm going to write? And then from there, start writing it or start recording it or whatever. Then from there, what happens the next day? Now I need to edit it and optimize it. And then the next day I publish it, right? You got to get into the action plan, right? You got to get into the action steps versus it just being the research, the planning. We got to get out of the planning and into the doing, okay? More. So the very first thing is we need to create it. So now let's say that you have created a piece of content, and I'll give you an example. All right, we're doing this right here, right now, and you're listening to this either on the podcast, you're watching it on YouTube, or you're watching it on Facebook, during the live or on a replay, wherever it is, right? This one piece of content, this one thing is going to show up as a podcast. It's going to show up as a Facebook Live. It's going to show up as a replay on Facebook. It's going to show up on YouTube. Okay. I'm just showing up here once. That's it. Everything else is going to happen. Now, with this recording, there will be a little bit of extra work. This file will then get downloaded. It'll get put up into a Dropbox, and then my editor will go in and they will take that video and they will transcribe it. They will go ahead and create show notes for it, and then it will get published on the blog. All from me just doing this. After I get done with this, I'm not going to do all of that stuff. Now, I used to record the podcast first because it was easier for me to record. And then second, I would go and write show notes, and then I would publish them myself. So in the beginning, a lot of times you got to do your own work. I get it, right? You don't want to hire a VA yet. which by the way, I think everyone could probably, because you'll get more done. And the more that you get done, the faster you'll go. But that's just me, right? I learned the hard way in a sense. I think that we need to find people that are good at what they do. And then you do what you're good at, right? For me, and I never thought this before, by the way, but I'm pretty good at just showing up and kind of winging it, right? If you give me a topic to go into, I've got enough experience that I could probably just kind of wing it, kind of like I'm doing right now, right? This stuff is not planned. I don't have a script. I don't have main bullet points. Sometimes I do. The only thing I have on my little spreadsheet here is this today. Okay. I have, what's the best way to create and recycle content? Jam session. That's it. That's all I got. That's what I'm going off of. But I know that it starts with a good piece of content. And I know that people get stuck with creating the content. So I go back and I go, well, first thing is we got to get rid of that problem. Once we get rid of that problem, now we get the piece of content created. Now, how do we recycle it? How do we repurpose it? Repurposing it is just what I went through with you. It's taking this one piece that resides only on Facebook and then have it on YouTube, have it on my blog, right? And then have it on iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify and all of those other channels, right? The cool thing is like this here, like I'm broadcasting this through an app called StreamYard. Right away, I'm streaming directly to YouTube, directly to Facebook, and also over to a group, right? So it's different places that I have properties, I have entities, right? And that's why I talk a lot about you don't just want one, right? If I was only publishing on YouTube, probably wouldn't get as much reach, right? And some would say, well, Scott, like, what if you're posting to one of those platforms and you don't get much reach? Who cares, right? I know on YouTube, I don't have a really good reach there. I don't really have a good reach on Facebook. Facebook always throttles back your reach. I mean, guys, it's crazy. Like you post something on Facebook and you have a page that you technically own, but you don't own it, but you own it. Like I've got like 28,000, 30,000 people following a page and I post something and sometimes only 200 people it'll reach. It's crazy, right? You got to just do it though, right? You got to keep doing it. So my point is this, take that piece of content. And if you can automate that to go and broadcast on these ones, that's why I tell people that are stuck creating content, the best thing that you could probably do, get out of your own way, get out of your comfort zone and do a Facebook Live. I don't care if one person watches and it's your cousin. I don't care. It's going to force you to start, not stop. And then you're going to get it out. Now, you may want to plan a little bit more, like have some bullet points. And I've done that before. But the worst case that happens is that one person seen it and that's it. And you delete it. But the thing is like right now I'm rolling. Okay. I'm rolling right now. If I mess up, I mess up. And if I say too many times, so what? But I'm going to get this done. And by the time I get done with this Friday jam session that I'm doing over on the Facebook page and the Facebook group and YouTube, after I'm done here, guess what happens? I'm done. Basically, everything else is done. It's already on YouTube. I have an editor that goes in and they clean up the title and they put in a thumbnail and they go ahead and they put in some notes, right? But that happens after. It starts with the piece of content. How did I know what I was going to talk about today? I didn't do a ton of keyword research. I didn't do any. I asked my audience, what do you want me to talk about today? Or actually I said tomorrow. And that one question came in right away and I go, good, that's the one I'm going to do. I'm going to reward that person immediately, answer their question directly, and I'll make that the topic. And here we are. Now, are there people out there that are going to want to know what's the best way to create content and recycle it and repurpose it? Of course. I mean, heck, you're listening to this thing right now. You must be interested, right? So you can ask your audience. Another great thing with having an email list, ask them what they want to learn about. Okay. But I don't want to get off on track here. So that's how you create a piece of content. Find the questions that people are asking in your market and answer those questions. That's it. But another mistake I see people making is this. Yeah, but Scott, I want it to be around my product. Get out of that. Like, get away from that. Like, forget about that for a minute. If someone is interested in building a brand online, they might not be ready or even wanting to build an email list. But I could still get people to come in, and I know that if they're listening to this, there's a good chance they'll probably want to build an email list in the future. There's probably a good chance they're going to want more content creation stuff, which we'll probably have a workshop for that later, right? There's going to be people that are going to come in that are going to need help with niche validation. They're going to need help with monetization. But I'm not making my main focus today everything about Brand Creators Academy or everything about the Brand Creators book. I'm not doing that. But does it naturally bring people in that are interested? Of course. And you have to think the same way. So questions are a huge opportunity if you have been struggling with content. And I'm just telling you, if you just answer those questions, you can write a full 1,500 word article. We've done it in multiple niches, 1,500 words or more on a question, because the question is answered, but then you can elaborate on why. And then you're going to bring up other things that are important to know about why someone's asking that question, right? So let's kind of go through this again. Figuring out your content is key, right? Let's say that you've figured out your content that you're going to do. Now commit to it. Get that piece of content either written, either record it. Even if you're going to record it and you're not going to use the recording, maybe it's easier for you to do this, record, and then transcribe and edit, and then put it into a piece of, or put a piece of content on your website, right? So that's how I would do it. I'd figure out what is the easiest thing for you to do. Now, I would say you do want a piece of written content no matter what. And the reason why is because why not drop a seed on Google and let Google index it, and then you can get some traffic 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 6 years from now. Like, why not? Right? It's not a lot of work. There's your repurposing, right? So if you're going to only do video on YouTube, you better create a home base, a website, and transcribe that and then embed your video on your website. Number one, Google likes it. YouTube likes it because you're cross-linking. They like that. You're embedding a video now, and you're making it a better user experience. Right? So that's how I would repurpose. Now, I would not go down the road of, okay, I'm going to go on Instagram and I'm going to create all these little snippets. Like I was doing that for a little while. If you noticed, I stopped. And the reason is because it's not worth my time to pay someone to chop up all my little videos and the little bit of reach that I get there. You're constantly feeding this thing. Once it's in Instagram and it's been a day or so, it's gone. So I don't even focus my energy there now. If you've noticed, if you've been on Instagram, you probably noticed I don't really post anything there anymore. And the reason is because I'm like, there's no reason for me to do all of these platforms if that one there is, you constantly got to feed it. So I'm not even worrying about that. Could I take all of my content, have these little snippets chopped up, little headers with little, transcripts rolling on the bottom? I could, I did. I'm not doing it anymore right now. Doesn't mean I won't do it in the future. Just right now, I'm not doing it. Okay. The ROI is not there for me. So not going to do it. So what's easy for me? Jumping on here, committing to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, answering questions, teaching certain elements of brand building or how to, take care of yourself as an entrepreneur. Like all of those things, those are the topics I'm going to be talking about. And that's it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then I get to repurpose a lot of this stuff. I can either air it on the podcast. I can have it transcribed, put it on my blog, which I do all of that stuff. And it resides on Facebook. It resides on YouTube. That's it. So that's how you repurpose, guys. You take one piece of content, the easiest way for you to create it, and then you kind of syndicate it in a sense, but not on all the platforms. Not on all the platforms. Okay? Whichever's easiest for you to do. And if you can automate any of it, that's even better. All right? Now, let's talk about the recycling aspect of it. Now, recycling to me is this. Let's say, for example, I did a post and it was 6 months ago. Someone joins my list. They've never been to my blog, or maybe they've been there but only seen a couple of posts. Why wouldn't I bring them back to that post? Unless it's, best gifts for 2020 and it's 2021 or 2022, I wouldn't link them there, right? But if you have a post that's evergreen, meaning that you could have that piece of content. You could share it again in a year from now and it's still relevant, or maybe you got to go back in and kind of freshen it up a little bit. That's fine too, because then there's an excuse to why you're bringing that post back. But most people that are on your email list do not see all your content. So even if you have people on your email list and you've already sent them a blog post, and 6 months from now, you want to bring it back, bring it back. So that's a great way to recycle your content. Or you could take 5 of your blog posts that are related together now and now make a brand new post, bringing those posts together, but then linking to the full post. So you might do a little roundup post of all of your 5 top posts on this one topic, because now you have them. And now you kind of recycle that as it's kind of new, but you're just summarizing what is in all of those 5 different articles. And then you can link out to those. So that's how I look at recycling. As far as if you have an email list, it's easy to recycle because people that come in today didn't see what you did 3 months ago. So why not bring them back to that? All right. So that's how you would recycle it. The other thing that you can do to recycle it is take some of your blog content, which we talk about this in our digital product creation fast track workshop, is take something that is relevant and that is good, take 5, maybe 10 posts, compile them, put them into a digital book, put them into a massive post. That's recycling too, right? Now we can take that asset that we created, we put time and effort into. Yes, we're still getting traffic from Google, right? Hopefully. And now what we can do is we can take that and compile it, bring it into something else. There's, I think, 6 or 7 podcast episodes that this playbook, now if you're listening to this, you can't see me, I'm holding up the playbook. All right. This book, which is 107 pages, okay, this was all created from, I think it was at least 5, but maybe 6 episodes that I mapped it out. I mapped out what the process looked like to build a brand. That has not changed. Okay. This was done over a year ago. Now, are these on the blog somewhere? Yeah. Are they on the podcast somewhere in the feed? Yeah. A couple hundred episodes ago. So for me to compile this and put it into one consumable piece, it's valuable. Now I have an audio book with all of those episodes edited and stitched together. Audiobook, right? I have a workbook that was created off of this. It all happened from content that I created. So that's somewhat recycling your content. Okay. So yes, there are a lot of ways that you can do this. I do not want you to overcomplicate it. So let's just go through these 3 different things here real quick. Number 1, you need content in order to do this anyway. So how do you do it? Start off by answering questions. And I would start with 5 or 10 questions. Okay. And do not overthink this. Okay. Do a little bit of research. And then from there, basically create those pieces of content. Then from there, figure out what is going to be the easiest platform for you to post it on. Is it your website? Is it YouTube? Is it Facebook? Whatever it is. Then from there, we think about how do we repurpose this, right? How do we take this same thing and post it on different channels? And then from there, recycling it, meaning after it's been a little while, whether it's taking it, putting it together, putting it into an ebook or a video training or a course or anything like that, that's what you're going to do after you've created some content. So your recycling isn't going to happen until after you've created it and it's been a little bit of time. Then we can recycle it. Or you can create in your email follow-up sequence, you can just start linking to some of those posts that are relevant, or even a video on YouTube, okay, or on Facebook. You can just go and link over to these assets that you've built. Just always think the things that you're creating, if you do it properly, are assets for your business. They're bringing in traffic. They're bringing in sales. Okay. If they're not, you need to reconsider what you're doing. Okay. People that are building a brand and just focusing on sales on a product are missing out. Okay. They're missing out because the byproduct of that, and this is what we teach inside of Brand Creators Academy and our full roadmap, is really monetization comes in a variety of different ways. And we want a variety of different ways. But one way, which is really awesome, is when you get traffic on your website and you turn on an ad network and you start getting paid for people just to show up at your website. It's pretty good stuff, right? To get $400 a month, $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month just from people showing up to your website, it's pretty cool, right? So as you're adding these pieces of content, you're just you're planting these seeds in the background, and then the crop is growing Some are going to do better than others. Some aren't. You know, it's just like you plant a row of corn. Some of it's going to do well. Some of it's not, right? We got to keep planting, okay? And then we can do these other cool things. All right, so I know it went a little bit longer, but that's what I would do. That's how you take and create content, good content, and then repurpose it and then recycle it. All right, so if we have any questions, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and address those now. And I went way longer than I thought on that one. So let's see here. We got a lot of stuff going on here. All right, let's see. Alejandro, that was your question, I think, right? You the man, Scott. Fist bump. Let's see here. Wow. Lot. Here we go. Cool. I love it. All right. All right. Derek says, I have been consistent for at least 1 hour a day, organizing things into places I can find them. And now I know where things are. That's your win. Okay. So what Derek is sharing now is a win. And I asked all of you when we started this to share a win. So I appreciate you doing that, Derek. And that's awesome. Great job. Sagi, had my Black Friday and Cyber Monday launch. I'm glad that you did, Sagi. And how did it go? Man? Salama, wrote copy for my lead magnet. Awesome. All right, cool. Now here's a question. Do you have a favorite tool or any favorite tools for organizing your paper files? I really don't. I think what you mean is like actual paper. I don't know that I have a ton of paper files anymore. I don't really have anything for that. I'm trying to do away with most paper files. How do you organize your paper files so you can easily find them? Yeah, I don't have a ton of paper files, to be honest with you. Let's see here. Happy Friday, brand rockers. Octavio, this week's wins. Shot a new video, produced 3 new articles, and reconnected with a great writer who will be writing for me again. That's a huge win, man. And Octavio is one of our Brand Creators Academy members, and he's just always crushing it. And you know what? I want to just highlight something here real quick. Octavio is still working a full-time job. And right now is his busy season, by the way, in his job. And he's still able to put in the time and the effort. He's obviously learned how to create a process and some systems. It's not been easy, but here he is. Shot a new video, produced 3 new articles, and reconnected with a great writer who will be writing for him again. So anybody that says they don't have time, I don't know, man. I don't think I believe it. There's always time, right? There's always time if you create the space for that thing that you want to get done, right? So we just have to think about how do we carve out that piece of time so we can focus on what's really important. Okay, Alejandro says repurpose. That's exactly what I meant. I knew you were in my brain. Yeah, and you know what? Recycling is a thing as well, but repurposing is more of what you would do immediately with it. Like take one and then kind of scatter it, right? But recycling is a thing. So I'm glad I brought that up anyway. Let's see. Yes, Octavio, Ferris Bueller, you're my hero. Yeah, that's a great movie, isn't it? Bueller, Fry. Let's see here. How do you make content that is SEO optimized? Well, I can't go into all of that right now, but honestly, you do not want to overthink this either. I would say if you are using WordPress, which I think you should be, you can use a tool called Yoast. It's a plugin. It will literally give you a checklist, and it really just comes down to the basics. You want content that is well-written, that's useful, number one. You want a good title that is targeting the long tail keyword that you're going after. How to catch bass in a pond at night would be a long tail keyword. And then from there, you want to look at also what are some other keywords that are coming up. And an easy way to do this is if you do a search in Google and then you have people also asked, and there's all these other questions, those could be some of your subheads inside of your article. And that will help with optimizing it for your main keywords, but also additional ones that could bring people in. So not a ton of time to go into SEO stuff. Maybe we'll do another coffee talk on that. And I got a little reminder here to take a sip. So thank you for that. This is called a coffee talk. So we should be drinking coffee or tea or your beverage of choice, which by the way, last night I tried a chaga latte, which was awesome. So if you have not tried that, you might want to. There's a lot of health benefits to it. Anybody here has tried Chaga? It's really good. Let's see. What steps are important to track when you create content so that you can someday outsource it? Literally recording yourself doing it. Like get ScreenFlow, Camtasia, Loom, any of those, and just record yourself doing it and then show the person that you want to train to do it. Like it's literally that easy. How long should each question post be? As long as it needs to be. I like to shoot for at least 1,200 to 1,500 words. But again, you don't want to stuff it. And we find that we could pretty much create a 1,500 word article on just about anything. But you do need a good writer, or you need to write it yourself where you're not just kind of like repeating. But yeah, as long as it needs to be. Would you recommend live streaming to a beginner? Absolutely. Absolutely, I would. Here's all I would do to prep, or I would say for you to prep. Now, if this was you, I would say, okay, here's what I want you to do. What is the one thing that we're going to address today? And for me, it was how to create content and repurpose it, right? So all I would do is I'd write that as my title, and I would write the 3 things. I would say, number 1, I'm going to talk about how to, number 1, come up with content ideas, a quick way, which I did, right? Find those questions, use those. And then from there, figure out what is going to be the easiest for you to create. Is it audio? Is it video? Is it writing? Okay. And then I would move on to, okay, how do we repurpose it? Well, if we're going to stream, we're going to go into different channels, or we're going to take that, we're going to take that piece of content, and then we're going to do a video about that piece of content, and we're going to then broadcast it to YouTube and Facebook. So I would go through those things on my little bullet points, and I would elaborate on them. That's it. So I would have came here with like 2, maybe 3 bullet points in the title, and then I would have just showed up and recorded it, right? That's what I would say to you. What's the one question that you're going to address? What are some bullet points about the reasons why that question is being answered in the way that you're answering it? And give some tips. What are some tips? And then from there, done. Hit record, broadcast live, hit done, and then edit. You're done. Like literally anyone can do this. And even if no one watches you, it forces you to start and not stop until you're done. All right. I would recommend anyone to do it. Anyone. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, cool. In your experience, is it better to offer your ebook as an upsell as they download your freebie in the nurture sequence email as a PS? You could always do it in the PS too, but I do like a free lead magnet to a paid when you're just starting. When you start getting into something that you're going to drive paid traffic to, you really need to understand the Facebook ads and whatever other ad platforms you're going to be using. Not saying it can't be done. I just like starting by building your list with a lead magnet, a free lead magnet that people want, and then on the back end of that, immediately selling them something on the thank you page. I just think it's an easier path. And then if we want to, we can always take that digital product that we're charging for, and we can try to run paid traffic to it. But we will need some more things to make that work profitably, which is a whole nother conversation. Should we use a tool such as content tools to organize our content? There's so many out there. Is there one you prefer? Content tools to organize our content. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Derek. As far as organizing the content, I'd get a spreadsheet. I'd go into your G Drive or your Google Suite, your Drive, and just create a spreadsheet and come up with all of the different title or the keywords that you're going to be targeting. And if you want to put some notes next to it, do it. But that's it. That's how I would organize the content. I wouldn't use a tool for that. I would just use a spreadsheet. That's all we use. Let's see here. Okay, cool. Would you work on lead magnet first, nurture sequence, and then content? I would probably say the lead magnet's going to come first because we want to start to build our list. Then from there, we can worry about the nurture sequence later. And the nurture sequence can be 3 words or 3 messages. Like that's it. And then the content that can come later too. But if you're already starting with your content, then building your list, then we have something immediately to send them. So either or, you got to pick one and go with it. If you want, maybe take 2 weeks and start creating some content, then start building your list with the lead magnet, and then you have something to drive traffic to. 6 of one, half a dozen the other. That's a great point about evergreen ROA Instagram. Yeah. You got to really understand, like, Instagram is fast, right? That's why I like Pinterest. Pinterest is evergreen. You put something there, people are going to find it now and 6 months from now. Let's see here. Should we just do one experiment at a time versus multitasking? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Derek. What do you mean, do one experiment? And I think if you mean like testing things, then yeah, do one test at a time. But if we're talking about, like, should I start my website first and start creating content, or should I start building my list? Just pick one and start doing it, and then we can bolt the other things on. Derek, don't forget your coffee. Thanks, man. All right, let's see here. Make a callback like you do on your podcast. Genius. Yes, Alejandro. Yeah, I think what you mean is when you just kind of go back and you reference something that you did, in the past. Let's see. I'm going to print the brand creator book today. Yes, please do, Derek. And Derek, when you do, take a picture of yourself with it. I'd love to share you holding it. So this way here, we can show other people that you should print it. All right. Do that for me, man. Let's see here. I'm going to repurpose an ebook I create and make it relevant in what I am doing now in 40 days without processed foods. Perfect. I love it. I love everything. It's funny too. Someone had just said, I think it was someone I haven't recognized here. I want to call this out. It's a good question. Paranoid John Droid. Man, why are you continuing to do these with only like 3 viewers? Well, what you're seeing is only the viewers on YouTube right now. And there's actually more than that. I think we had about 28 to 30 on from the different streams. And I don't worry about that. And it's funny. I'm glad that you brought that up, because I want to share that, because most people would be exactly in like what you're saying. Like, why would I keep doing this? Well, it's number one, it's evergreen now. So you did something that's going to be found. It's not just about the live viewers. I'm here with, a group of people, right? If you were to take 15, 20 people and hang out at a coffee shop on a Friday afternoon talking about that stuff, that'd be pretty cool. That's all I look at these as, right? Because then I get to post it on the podcast. That gets listens. I get to post it on YouTube. That gets some viewers down the line. I get Facebook people that are going to come, they're going to start, going through some of my content. They're going to find that. It's going to be in a playlist now. All of these things. So what I wanted to bring up is that point is people saying, why would I keep doing this if I'm only getting 3 viewers? Right? So that mindset already tells me that you're only looking at the live side of things, not the content, the evergreen side of things. So that's the reason why. Right? So, and anyone else that's watching this and listening, that's why I do what I do. I just need a handful of you to hang out with me, right? If more want to show up, that's great. But I'm just looking to hang out with some people and really help people live. So this way here, that turns into a piece of content that lives on, right? So don't let the views and stuff get you down. Let's see here. Oh, Sagi. Scott, do you post YouTube vids organically on Facebook, or just share a link and bring traffic to YouTube website? Yeah, what I do there, Sagi, is if I have a video on YouTube, I do not just take that video and just, I don't upload that same video into Facebook. And the way that I do it, to be honest with you, is whatever happens on YouTube happens. I am not focusing my energy on YouTube. I'm just streaming there when I go live here, and then that piece of content will just live on. And whether it gets 60 views, 6,000 views, doesn't matter to me. But when I have an episode that goes live from the podcast, and then there's a YouTube video that's created because I record them like this as my interviews, or I'll do a solo show, I'll do it like this. This here could get uploaded to YouTube organic or natively. And then from there, I can also take that video if I want and put it up on Facebook, but I usually don't because I usually broadcast here. But to your point, then I will share the link into Facebook, into the Facebook group for that YouTube episode that went live. The only reason why I do it that way is I don't know that there's a huge amount of benefits from natively uploading it versus just sharing that link. I know that there probably is a little bit, but how much? And do I want to dedicate another person or someone on my team to do that? Probably not. Let's see here. Derek, WordPress has changed quite a bit. Do you recommend backing up your website? Yeah, it's a good idea. There's also tools there that will allow you to do it, which is pretty simple. It's a plugin that you can get. Sagi, once again, man, I love jamming with you, Sagi. I haven't talked to you in a long time. Another question. How does a day, couple-hour session of coming up with content look like for you? I mean, do you have a specific procedure? Do you have a list with ideas first that you write every time you think about something, then have full days of researching and bulleting out of the content? Yeah, I'm not that elaborate, Sagi. It really comes down to, well, number one, my Wednesday episodes on the podcast mainly are just guests, right? And those guests that I have come on, I don't care if it's, a hack for, your e-commerce store, or if it's a hack for SEO. I just want a good story. So not a lot goes into that because I just find good guests that I want to learn more about their story. And I might want to pick their brain live or record it and then have people listen in. So that's pretty easy. The other two, like the jam sessions, those are questions that are fed to me by people watching or people that email me or people that message me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. So that just kind of organically happens. So not a lot of thought. Like today, I didn't plan this 3 days ago. But I do have solo shows that I do. And a lot of times what I like to do is I like to bring up stories and experience that's coming from the Academy. And the reason why is because when I get to talk about the Academy, guess what happens? People want to know more about the Academy. And ultimately, I want people to be interested in the Academy. Okay. So I look at, I'm not looking at it as for brand creators as an SEO play as much as me being able to reach people like this. Or if I'm running paid ads to our email list building fast track workshop and they become a customer, I want them to come into the world of brand creators and see what we do. So to answer your question, I do not really sit down and plan out like very specifically. Although I do plan out, like right now, if I go into my spreadsheet, I've got a spreadsheet. I'm basically mapped out until January 1st, right? So I have everything kind of mapped out. Now, what's really helped me with that is my interviews on Wednesday. Those are all done, or they're pretty much planned. And then my Friday jam sessions are pretty much done, right? Because I'm doing this now and this won't air for another 2 weeks. And then my Monday episode is kind of like I can pull from the coffee talks that I've done, right? And then they're kind of already done. So yeah, it's actually become a lot easier. So I think it is smart to sit down and maybe map out. Like I look at people that do 1 episode a week and I'm like, that's easy, right? Because I've been doing 3 episodes a week on the podcast for over 5 years, which is crazy to even say. And now on these coffee talks, I've been doing, what are we at, 170 sessions of these? So about over 6 months, right? And so, it's like, I just find that planning is good, but planning too much could get you hung up too. Cause then you can't really be you can't be as flexible. So I don't want to plan too far out because I don't want to go, oh, well, 2 months from now, I'm going to be talking about this because maybe we're going to be doing a workshop on content creation, right? But right now, I know up to the first of the year, I know pretty much what we're going to be focusing on. So anyway, I hope that answered your question. All right, let's move on here. StreamYard versus Zoom to go live. I would say StreamYard, to be honest, live. If you're going to do Zoom for a webinar or a paid training, yeah, Zoom. But StreamYard is great because you can do that. You can multicast. Leonardo, hey Scoot. have you ever used someone to write an ebook for you, ghostwriting, and how to be sure the content is not plagiarized? Thank you. Yes, I have. And the way that you do it is you can literally go to a site. I forget the name of it now. Copyscape, it's called, and you can pay. It's literally like 10 cents per 1,000 words or something like that. And they will literally go out there on the internet and they will compare it. And it'll allow you to see if something's been copied. If you use something like iWriter, it's built in. If you use something like Content Pit, they're all built in. So you really don't have to worry about it. But if you want to just do it yourself afterwards, just to be safe, just run it through something like Copyscape. It's easy and it's cheap. Super easy to do. All right, guys. Wow, this went on for longer than I thought. I thought this jam session was going to be like 30 minutes. But guys, this has been awesome. I appreciate all the questions. I appreciate you that are here live. If you are watching this on a replay, I still appreciate you. And just let me know that you're watching this and just drop a comment. What was one big win for you this week or one small win? And also just a little reminder that, well, I got a couple reminders here. If you have not yet went to takeactioncrew.com, go there, sign up, and you will get some cool stuff behind the scenes. I'm going to be just emailing the coffee crew with some cool things. We might do some t-shirt giveaways, maybe even one of these Take Action Effect book giveaways. We'll do something there. We'll do some cool stuff, and I'll just be notifying you of some upcoming stuff. And then also I'll be asking you guys for some suggestions. So that's takeactioncrew.com. The other thing is, if you are interested in joining Brand Creators Academy, it is not open to the public. I think I told you guys the last time we opened, it was the last time we were going to do public opens, at least for right now. What I would like to say, though, is if you're interested in applying, head on over to, let's see here, brandcreatorsacademy.com. You should be able to go there and you can apply. And it's a short little application. And then from there, what we're going to be doing is sending out private invites when we allow a new batch of people to come in. So if you're interested, you want to join us, if you want to join us before 2021, so this way here we can kick off the year together, and definitely do that. I would love to have you. And this way here we can see if you're a good fit or not. So go over to brandcreatorsacademy.com. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up. As always, have an awesome, amazing day, week, weekend, whenever you're watching this. And until next time, take care, take action, and I'll talk to you soon, guys. Bye.